Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Hope you're having a good day today. Today is Thursday. I've got a lot to go over today, but I'm going to try and do it in record time, okay? So this is another fear-mongering video for those of you that are going to say that, and I've said it already, so you don't have to bother saying it, okay? So those of you that think that this is going to be a fear-mongering video or think that this is a fear-mongering video, think that. It's all right. You can think whatever you want. Just start prepping if you're not prepping yet, okay? It's time to wake up, all right? And what I'm going to show you here in the next few minutes, it's just a speck, all right, of the trials that we are facing currently, not only in this country, the United States, but in almost every country, all right, in the world. Okay, and let me go ahead and cover this also. I had an awesome comment the other day. I forgot what video it was, but someone said something in the effect of, I don't have to prep because I live in the ghetto and we're just going to go to the suburbs or the urban areas and take everything from people that have stuff. So good luck with that. Okay, good luck with that. If you live in the ghetto or whatever you call a ghetto, or if you live in a really populated city, good luck with getting out of there. But that's the mentality that some people have, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what's going to differentiate those that do make it through and those that don't. And what do I mean by making it through? Whatever kind of crisis may be headed our way, whether it be a short-term crisis or a long-term crisis, you're going to need to have some preps. So even if you don't believe in having long-term preps, at least have some short-term preps. At least have enough preps for a month or 2 months, at least. I was talking to some ladies at work about this yesterday, and they actually, and none of these ladies are like preppers or anything like that. You know, we just started talking, and it, you know, the conversation evolved to prepping, and they actually took the information I was giving them well. They actually received it well and said, well, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And I told them the same thing that I'm telling you guys right now. At least have a month or two of preps just in case. And none of these ladies do, but I can see that the light turned on a few of their heads. I can see a few of them, a little halo came on over their heads. So let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this out of the way right quick because I don't want to blab on too much. So here's our first article. Gut-wrenching day as production ends at Ohio GM assembly plant. All right. So this is just one of, I think, 3 plants in the United States that's closing down this year for GM. This one right here is going to affect 1,700 employees. Okay. So this is the first one, and you guys can look these up, okay? I'm not gonna have time to leave a link for all of these today, but all you have to do is just type in this title, and you'll find it right at the top. Okay. Second one, man who invented the Segway teams with FedEx to build a delivery robot. So now they're looking to deliver a robot to deliver parcels instead of using humans. Okay. So some people may see this as a good thing. I'm sure that those employees now that are being paid to deliver those goods won't see this as a good thing. But that's just more things coming down the line as far as people being able to find good paying jobs. Don't look now. Why should you be worried about machines reading your emotions? So now they're coming out with machines, or they've had these machines for a long time. It's like I said, I'm not going to read the entire article, so I might read a little bit from each. You guys can go look them up. But here it says machines can now allegedly identify fear, disgust, and sadness. Emotion detection has grown from a research project to a $20 billion industry. So now they've got machines. So if you're having a bad day one day and you're walking down the street and a couple of law enforcement officers or whatever they may call them come and grab you and say, you need to come with us, this may be why. All right. And this is not happening here in the US yet, although they have been testing this out at TSA. All right. U.S. here, could a program detect potential terrorists by reading their facial expressions and behaviors? This was the hypothesis put to the test by the TSA in 2003 as it began testing a new surveillance program called the Screening of Passengers by Observation Techniques Program, or SPOT for short. All right. So now there's going to be a machine that determines whether you are suspicious or not, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. growth to slow considerably in 2019, New York Fed. It says here the U.S. economy should considerably slow in 2019 as the boost from last year's economic stimulus fades, the president of the New York Federal Reserve Bank said on Wednesday. Amid economic uncertainty, the Federal Reserve could wait before raising interest rates again, John Williams said in remarks to the Economic Club of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Reserve has one function and one function only, all right? I'm not sure if you know this or not, but the Federal Reserve, first of all, for those of you that may be listening for the first time or that are pretty new to this and do not understand what the Federal Reserve is, one thing that it is not a federal entity. It is not a federal body that is being led by elected officials or officials that are there for the interests of the United States. The Federal Reserve is there for one and one reason only, all right? To help the banks. That's it. That is the only reason the Federal Reserve is there, is to take care of its banks. They do not care whether you default on your loan. Okay? They do not care. Why? Because there is an underlying piece of property or piece of value under that loan that they can take away from you. Okay? So if you default on your car loan, who's coming after your car? That's right, the bank. If you default on your home, who's coming after your home? That's right, the bank. They don't care whether you can make that payment or not. They've created value out of thin air. You went and got a loan. The money that you got from the bank, they created it literally out of thin air. And then you get to pay them back all the money that they created out of thin air plus interest on the money they created out of thin air. And if you don't pay it back, guess what? They get something that's real. They get your house, they get your car, whatever it may be. So now in order for you to pay that money back that they created out of thin air, you have to actually make something. You have to actually produce. You have to actually make something that's valuable in order to trade for that money that you're paying them back. But they got to create it out of thin air. Next one. U.S. budget deficit widens 77%. The U.S. budget deficit widened to $310 billion in the first 4 months of the fiscal year, underscoring the revenue hit. Underscoring the revenue hit from Republican tax cuts and an increase in government spending. Right? And those of you that are going to say, oh, it's the Republicans' fault, it's the Democrats' fault, you may need to wake up. All right? If you're still stuck on the left and right paradigm, then you're still asleep, even though you may think you're awake. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is no left-right. There is government, period. And let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that do believe in big government, how are things looking? They're not looking that great. I don't think they are. All right? I don't think they are. What has big government done for us? Every single state in the nation is facing some kind of spending problem, right? And I may be wrong, and if I am, please let me know. I would be very interested to know in what state is doing really, really great. Because maybe I'm wrong. I think maybe Texas, might be doing pretty good. I'm not sure if Florida is doing good. Maybe there's a state or two. But you know where I'm getting at. Most states, if not all, are facing some kind of a fiscal cliff, all right? And I just saw a news clip yesterday where it said that American consumer debt is at about 18 trillion. So when you take all the mortgages, all the credit cards, all of the student loans, all the auto loans, and any other kind of personal loans, U.S. consumer debt or public debt, not public debt, private debt, is at over $18 trillion. All right. And no wonder our government debt or our national debt is at 22 trillion. I mean, we, the people, supposedly are the ones that are supposed to run the government, right? Or the ones that are supposed to represent people elect people to represent us. Well, look at who they're representing. They're already representing a populace that's in $18 trillion worth of debt. So it's no figure why our national debt is so large. We obviously, as individuals here in the U.S., don't care about that or have grown accustomed not to care about that. So let's see the next one. U.S. posts record annual trade deficit. This is pretty huge. They just came out with the numbers for 2018. We posted an $891.3 billion deficit last year. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know what that means, but that means that last year we borrowed more than $2 billion a day. And that was just our deficit. I don't think that was all of the debt. I think last year we had like 1.1 trillion in debt, because you have to add 300 and something billion to that number there for the interest that we pay on our loan. All right, or not on our loan, on our debt, whatever you want to call it. All right, so our entire debt last year was 1 point something trillion. I think 1.1 or 1.2 trillion. So we're borrowing about $3 billion a day just to keep our heads, just to get into more debt. So we're borrowing roughly $3 billion a day as a nation just to get into more debt. So we're borrowing to pay off debt. Let's see. Source: leaked documents show that U.S. government tracking journalists and immigration advocates through a secret database. Yep. That's another one, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, look at this. How great are things? And this is not just in the U.S. This is happening in a lot of countries. Look at this one right here. Humans for sale. Libyan slave trade continues while militants kill and torture with impunity, UN says. And although this article here is about a year old, this is still going on, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and look it up. All right. Every time that I tell you guys to look it up, I keep thinking about the comment that I think is Michael that left this comment that said, "How do we all know that this is true? You know, just because it's on the internet?" That's a great question, you know. But I guess we have to go with what we feel as far as when we read something. But the reason that I thought this was interesting here, and let me read the first paragraph or so. Libya has become a lawless state in which fragmented and armed groups kill and torture with impunity. The UN Human Rights Office has said, 7 years after a revolution toppled dictator Muammar Gaddafi. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, when I look at this right here, I just thought about this, but look at this. Humans for sale. There is an active slave trade going on in Libya. All right, and it says here, as the government has restricted boats crossing the Mediterranean. Let me go ahead and close these out so I won't freeze up. But where are we at? I mean, right now, there's people actually in a part of the world, in Libya, which is right there in Africa, that are being sold on a live slave market. And these guys are getting castrated. They castrate them and then they get sold as human slaves. Where are we? Isn't that look at this. Isn't this like a humanitarian issue? Why aren't we there? Because we're in Venezuela. This to me seems like it's a lot worse than what's going on in Venezuela. Human beings are being sold. Men are being castrated and being sold. An estimated 700,000, it says there. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. What's this next one here? Oh, let's hope my computer doesn't freeze on me, ladies and gentlemen, because you guys know I have a pretty old computer. I'm trying to close some of these out so that my computer is not overtaxed and it won't freeze up on me. Okay. Okay, here's another one. U.S. complicity in the Saudi-led genocide in Yemen spans Obama and Trump administration. Let's read this a little bit. A Saudi-led coalition of states has been aggressively bombing Yemen and imposing an air and naval blockade of its ports for more than 3 years. Leading UN Secretary General Guterres describes Yemen as the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Where are we at, ladies and gentlemen? All you hear about in the mainstream media is about Venezuela and about how they have to accept our humanitarian aid. I've never heard of this, of a country telling another country that they don't have a choice, they have to accept our humanitarian aid. But where are we in Yemen? Right now in Yemen, ladies and gentlemen, there's almost 20 women and children that are on the verge of starvation. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And Yemen is a country of, I believe, less than 40 million. All right. And there's 20 million. Half of its population is on the verge of starvation. And then like another 10 or 15 million or something like that is malnutrition, are suffering from malnutrition and suffering from easy to cure illnesses because they don't have any supplies, or supplies are not being allowed to come in because of some kind of blockade that there's going on. Where are we? All right? Why aren't we there? You know, I would actually take money out of my pocket and put it, if the government came around and said, hey, listen, we need everyone to chip in $5 so we can go help Yemen out so that these kids don't literally starve to death. 20 million kids that are on the verge of starving to death. I would say, yeah, absolutely, man. If everyone in the U.S. gave $5 or the equivalent of $5 so that these kids can have some food and medicine and they don't have to starve to death, absolutely. Here, I'll take it. Take it. But where are we? I don't know. And here we go. How ex JP Morgan silver traders guilty plea could boost manipulation claim against bank. So just to cut this short here, last year here we go. John Edmonds, a 36-year-old Brooklyn resident, pleaded guilty in October to fraudulently manipulating the precious metals markets from 2009 to 2015. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember in 2011, if you guys remember that far back, in 2011, silver was at its peak, 49 and change. Gold was at 1900 and change, all right? And all of a sudden, it just dropped from a cliff. And this is why. But no one's gone to jail. I think maybe this guy who's just a lemming, you know, who's a low-level lemming, might have done a little jail time. You guys can go and read this article. But no one went to jail. JP Morgan hasn't been investigated, even though you have an insider who directly said that his bosses, high-level bosses, knew exactly what he was doing and that he was taught to do what he was doing in order to manipulate the market. Okay, so we're not part of the club, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you need to be prepared, because if you think that the government's going to look after you when things turn bad, do you think they're looking after you now? And this last one, I'm going to end it on this one, and I've got a point to make on this one, okay? So this last one, I'm not trying to be, a nasty mind guy, but I have a point to make. All right? And this here says, billionaire diamond trader at the age of 65 dies during a male organ enlargement surgery at a private Paris clinic. And ladies and gentlemen, I think this is what it comes down to. It's morality. many of us, and I say us because none of us are perfect, okay? Do I consider myself a moral person? Yes, I do. All right. Do I consider myself a good person? I do. All right. But I'm not perfect, and no one is perfect. So when I say we have, that's why I say we. We have a morality problem, not only in the U.S., but in a lot of the world. There's a problem with morals, and that could be a different video for a different day as to why that is. But we have a problem with morals, right? And I think that's the root of all of our problems. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video didn't go on too long. I'm gonna try to post it here on Thursday. I am going to try to get a video out for Saturday morning. Okay. However, if I don't, there will definitely 100% sure be a video Sunday morning, unless something really bad happens. So hopefully nothing really bad happens. All right. So for sure Sunday morning. And ladies and gentlemen, don't miss the video for Sunday morning. Okay. It's going to be a very good video. I think you guys are really going to like it. Okay. And there's something in it that everyone will be able to participate in. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, got to get ready for work. I hope you guys have a great day today. Great day today, Thursday. I always call Thursdays Friday Eve because it's the day before Friday, and Friday is the last day of the work week for me, at least. All right. So have a good Friday Eve today. Be safe out there. I hope you all have a good day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, any way that you can support the channel, it's appreciated. If you'd like to see how, just go ahead and take a look at the links below, or take a look at my pinned comment, which I usually put up there. Thank you very much for your support, by the way. Having said that, this is Alaska Prepper. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm out.